Hey guys, I'm HOJ, and in today's video, we'll be doing another best of one standard event, this time with Mono Red Aggro. And this is a deck that recently went 5-0 in a standard league by player 3DK4PAHS. So anyways, I'll have a link in the description for the full deck list and the win rate statistics, the playlist, all of the info. And then also, if you'd like to subscribe, if you like this kind of content and you want to see more. So let's go ahead and jump in. I think kind of the big thing about this deck is it is taking advantage of cards that can get extra value, or at least do extra damage thanks to Orzhov Axonil, Deepest Might. And so it has 3 copies of Orzhov Axonil, which is a 4/4 trample legendary creature that if a red source you control would deal an amount of non-combat damage less than Orzhov Axonil's power to an opponent, that source deals damage equal to Orzhov Axonil's power instead. And so basically this turns all of your burst lightnings, your shocks, your lightning strikes into 4 damage instead of whatever damage they do normally. This also works with creatures that have abilities like Scalding Viper, and so whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value 3 or less, this creature deals 1 damage to that player, and that 1 damage becomes 4 if you have Orzhov Axonil in play. With Razorkin Needlehead, whenever a opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to them, so that becomes 4. With Hired Claw, whenever you attack with 1 or more lizards, this creature deals 1 damage to the opponent, that becomes 4. And then in addition, Nova Hellkite does 1 damage when it enters to target creature an opponent controls, and that becomes 4. And so it's a lot of ways to kind of get some nice value out of some of the creatures that are already pinging the opponent in various different ways. Other than that, it has a pretty typical removal package here. It has 4 Lightning Strike, 4 Burst Lightning, 2 Shock, and then it also has Razorkin Needlehead, Scalding Viper in the 2-drop slot, Hired Claw and Burnout Bashtronaut in the 1-drop slot. So it's not running the other kind of 2-drops we often see in Mono Red. You know, we're not seeing Slick Shot Show Off. We're not seeing the, I think it's Emberheart. Oh, I can't think of the name of it. The 2/2 guy with haste that has prowess for 2. And then it has 2 copies of Tersa Light Shatter, which is a 3/3 haste for 3 that discards and then draws, and so can take a little bit of advantage out of the graveyard if you can get up to 7 cards in your graveyard. Other than that, the deck is a little bit mana hungry, and so it has 25 land, which is kind of a lot for a mono red deck, but it does have 2 copies of Soulstone Sanctuary, 2 copies of Rockface Village, and then it has a couple lands that can also play blue, just so we can make kind of get advantage off of the other side of Scalding Viper, where you can use it as a 2-mana sorcery to return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand on the front half, if you want to use that and then play it as a creature afterwards. Okay, so that's the deck. It does also have a sideboard, which will be included in the description, but we're just going to be doing best of one here. So, all right, we're all set to go here in our standard event, and let's jump in. And I think a lot of the kind of the reason for some of the pinging is because the biggest kind of threat in the format right now is the Izzet Lessons deck, and this kind of has 2 cards that intentionally try to deal with Izzet Lessons. You have the Needlehead, which whenever they draw a card does 1 damage to the opponent, and also the Scalding Viper, which does 1 damage whenever they play mana, a spell with mana 3 or less, which they do a lot of. All right, so let's start off here. Could be up against mono white, maybe. Oh, Hare Apparent. Okay, this is going to be interesting. It's a fun card, but this is sort of an interesting deck to make. Yeah. All right, so we'll just go ahead and I think probably try to keep this under control and shock the first one. I don't really know how we're going to do against this kind of deck, but assuming it just has like a billion Hare apparents in it. And I think we just kind of keep going here. Let's Burst Lightning the Prince, and then we can do another Scalding Viper. So not really sure what we're running into here. This could be a very weird deck. Yeah, there's more Hare appearance to come. Okay. And here, yeah, I think we're happy to trade. Just kind of keep pushing in damage. We can get our Nova Hellkite going. And our Burnout Bashtronaut. Once they're up to 4 mana, I can start doing 2 Hare apparents a turn. could get a little bit dicey. Sure. Yep, and I guess that's going to do it. All right, on to the next one. But yeah, I think that this deck was kind of tuned a little bit to help fight against Izzet Lessons. I think just because it's such a big part of the metagame right now, you sort of have to be ready for Izzet Lessons in some way or another. And both Scalding Viper and Razorkin Needlehead are both well positioned against it, just because it draws a lot of cards and casts a lot of spells. But I think they both get, burned out kind of easily, so it's sort of, I think it's still a tough match potentially. All right, let's lead out here with Bashtronaut. It's kind of a nice little hand, 1, 2, 3 drop. Okay, this could be Mono White Lifegain or possibly Orzhov Lifegain. Either way, I think we're happy to maybe be able to pick something off with Hellkite, depending on what they play. Get Needlehead going. And then we might want to use Tursa to try to find some removal here. I guess it just depends on what they play and if they're able to get things out of range quickly. Okay, they've got the Pridemate. So what we could do is we could do Hellkite here and put a damage on the Pridemate and then still be able to attack with the Needlehead. I do like that. I think that makes it harder to attack with Bastronaut. So maybe we don't attack with Bastronaut then. Just because they can double block it, and then I suppose if they double block it, we do push 6 damage, which is pretty good, but they are gaining a bunch of life, so I think we just go in with Hellkite and Needlehead here. Unfortunately, the Pridemate's going to get out of range kind of quickly. Ooh, double Pridemate. Okay, it's pretty rough. Burst Lightning is nice. I think we're going to Hellkite, pick off the Vanguard, and we can use Burst Lightning to see if they fall for blocking the Needlehead here. And again, I suppose we could attack with Bastronaut and just try to push damage, but again, I think it's not a great attack, just because it's pretty easy for them to block, and I want them to block the Needlehead. So yeah, now we could use another mana to maybe pick up, be able to play Hellkite. Ooh, Halaya is very good here. And we're really hoping to be able to pick up another mana now, just so we can pick off the Healer's Hawk. Again here, I think we can drop to 4. It's not ideal, but there's a possibility we can try to... I guess it's not a lethal hit just yet. Depending what we draw, we might be able to push in a little bit of damage with Bastronaut. It's just going to get bigger, so I think maybe we take it. So we don't really have an answer for the Pridemate. I suppose we could bounce it, actually, if we draw into one of the Scalding Vipers. So it's a little bit risky, but I think we're going to go to 4. All right, we can go for... We probably want to go for Hellkite here, and then I think we sit back with... I guess Bastronaut's probably better because it does double strike, so maybe we sit back with Needlehead to block the Pridemate next turn. But we're going to be using all of our mana, so maybe it's not. And I guess like the Needlehead could potentially represent more damage, so if we leave the Bastronaut back. Problem is if they have something like Sheltered by Ghosts, we're just done. I think either way we're playing the Hellkite. And I guess getting rid of their Sanctifier is pretty good, so maybe we push I guess this is 2 guaranteed damage. And if we draw like another land next turn, we could pump it 3 times, pushing potentially 8 with this if they don't have blockers. So yeah, actually I think I'm going to get into the Bashtronaut instead. Again, this is a little risky in case they have removal, where we just lose, but I think we kind of have to push it. Yeah, and they have the Shelter by Ghosts, unfortunately. So I think that, like, if we had left both back to block, they would be at 10, and then, you know, potentially we have another attacker. We could go Hellkite, push for 8. We'd be a little bit short, so yeah. We just kind of needed them to not have Shelter by Ghost there. That is one of the tougher matchups against this deck, and I don't think it's that prevalent on ladder, so you may not see it so much. Opening hand looks good. We'll lead out here with Spirebluff Canal for Hired Claw. Okay, Swiftwater Cliffs. Alright, let's just go right into Viper. And I think we do want a Viper here instead of just pumping up our Hired Claw. Just kind of get more board presence, since we don't really know what we're up against yet. But in general, you want to get more board presence. I don't think Izzet Lessons runs this card. It's maybe some sort of different deck. We could go for another Viper here. I think we just go for Hellkite, though. They've got the counter, they've got the counter. It's also kind of nice because if they have like some sort of board wipe with like Pyroclasm or just who knows what else, kind of dodges some of that. Could go for double Viper here. I think I might just want to go for Hellkite just because they're tapped out is a little hard to cast. And it's guaranteed damage. So I think I'm going to do the one that's not as mana efficient. This also gives us options for like bouncing something if we have to. Plus we do have a fair amount of burn in the deck. We could just burn them out. And now if they cast a spell and we draw land, we could just kill them with Hellkite. Okay, so it's pretty good. We can get them down to 1. And the other option, we could like bounce Ral, bounce the token, hit them for 2. Which, I mean, I guess I don't know how how much they go off with this, but I think we just Hellkite here. Oh, never mind. I forgot we just killed their token. That works. Never mind. All right, 2 and 1. Opening hand looks good. We've got mana. We have some early drops. Usually not a fan of just like burning them like right in the early game until we know what we're up against. Plus this can do 4 damage later if we get the mana. Could be a little risky here in case they have no more lives, but I think we go for it. Okay, I guess they had Dispelling Exhale instead. So this could be Jeskai? Yeah. This definitely might be a little bit of a tough fight because they do have a decent amount of life gain. This turn I think we just go for Sanctuary on end of turn. And they're probably trying to time it so they have Rediscover the Way come back with the dragon on 5. And they did draw the demo field. Okay, so I don't think we give them the benefit. I think we just try to burn them end of turn. Suppose we could like force their hand by like activating Sanctuary, but it's because we know they have demo field. I think we just don't go for it. So here we could burn our own Viper to deny them the life. Be one option. Actually, I think what we do in response is now we activate Sanctuary. So we could Burst Lightning our Viper, deny them the 3 life gain, activate Sanctuary. Let's see, do we have enough mana to do all of that? No, we don't. I guess we just activate Sanctuary, let it happen. Because it's still the beginning of combat. Oh, never mind, we already attacked. Never mind. Here I'm thinking we still had time, but it was in the middle of combat. We can do an extra damage with the Burst Lightning. Like if we do it for 5 mana, so it's not the end of the world. And we do make them, we force them to use this to take a turn off instead of going for the dragon this turn. I suppose we could have tapped a mana there to get like Lightning Strike end of turn. So yeah, maybe we should have like tapped a mana for the extra. Floating mana for Lightning Strike. Okay, another Burst Lightning. And I think we'll wait till their turn for them to tap out. Guess we go for it. They could have like 3 steps and like just do some drawing, but I think the opportunity's here. I think we go for it. I suppose we could have also gone for like Lightning Strike to play around another Dispelling Exhale. Now we've got 7 mana, so we could play around Dispelling Exhale unless they have a dragon. But here they just want to try to set up for Jeskai Rev, I think. Consult for 2, trying to find a counter. Could just go for the Lightning Strike here also, but I guess we can pretty easily play around another Dispelling Exhale. Yeah, and unfortunately they've got Helix here. Don't really want to Lightning Strike our own Needlehead, but it's kind of the same as shooting them in the face, so I think unfortunately we hold it probably. Yeah, one of the weaknesses of this deck is it does have a hard time against Lifegain. And there is Jeskai Rev. Oof. Yeah, so now we might kind of have to play defense and go for killing one of these monks. I think this is also like a minor problem with the 25 land that this deck runs. Can definitely get flooded. Okay, that's gonna do it. All right, so unfortunately, yeah, we are now currently 2-2. See if we can run it back and get a win. But yeah, like in like a field full of potentially Izzet lessons, I'm curious how well this deck will play against it. It does seem like it does have certainly answers to some of the problems, but I think that, you know, both the both creatures that kind of hurt Izzet can also be easily killed by like Firebending Lesson or Combustion Technique or Ira's Demonstration, so don't know how good it really will play against them. I guess like those plus a little bit of pressure and like maybe it's enough. Okay. Could be up against Reanimator here. Or maybe Golgari. Or Mono Black. I think let's get Viper going. The one consideration here is if it is Mono Black, it does have access to a number of board wipes, so maybe it's better to try just like pushing with Hired Claw instead of getting a bunch of creatures out there. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to try with the Viper. Although I guess like if we go like Hired Claw into Light Shatter, that's not so bad. I'm just kind of a little worried about like board wipes. Because it has like Day of Black Sun, have their 5-mana board wipe. It just depends on like what kind of mono black deck we're up against. 0 Point Ballad, sure. Okay, so I'm happy that we didn't play Viper into that. Now we can go for Tursa. Odre could be good here. Man, Odre plus like the removal on hand is pretty sweet. But maybe we just discard Odre here, because there are 3 copies, and we have like a bunch of burn in hand. Or maybe we like pitch like Viper, hoping to draw land, and then like have some removal. I kind of like that. Then maybe we get to Odre, maybe we don't. Okay, yeah, we do have a handful of stuff. This card is pretty good against us. Okay, I guess they've had enough. That'll work. 3 and 2. Took one look and said, no thanks. Okay, opening hand looks great. We've got double Hired Claw, Burnout Bashtronaut. We'll lead out with Claw, because then we can get like the double ping when we play this next turn. I think we do want to take out the Chocobo while we can, so we can Hired Claw into Burst Lightning. Only consideration is like if they play something that's like a must kill like next turn, we won't have an answer for it, but we do have like Hellkite coming, so maybe we're okay. think if we draw land and they play like Tifa, we can go into Hellkite and still get it. I think for that reason I'm going to go for Light Shatter here instead. Do we want to discard maybe Burnout Bashtronaut? Although Bashtronaut plays pretty well because then we can like level one of these up and play Bashtronaut. So I don't know if we discard anything here. I think I keep Hellkite in case they play like a Land of War Elves or something like that. Yeah, I don't actually know that it's better to get rid of Bashtronaut here. I think we just go for it. They probably have Snakeskin Veil or like Overprotect. So what we could do, I guess we could go like Hellkite to put a damage on it, and then we wouldn't have to level these things up. They could still get us with like Overprotect, but I think it's fine. That way if they do have Overprotect, like we still get them, like if they block Tursa. So I think I'm going to go Hellkite here. Or at least gives us more information. Like forces blocks. And I guess they're done. Sure. That'll work. All right, on to the next one. Four and two. Even though the Izzet Lessons deck is like public enemy #1, I will say that it was very interesting to play. There's like a lot of decisions, and it is kind of fun. So it's kind of villain mode, but it's fun to see all the different like options and permutations. I will say, as an opponent, playing against Izzet Lessons, it is one of the most boring decks to sit through. So I completely get where people are coming from. Okay, Simic Aggro. I think, yeah, Badger Mole is pretty much a must kill here. I assume they try to protect it. Yeah, it makes sense. But I think if we don't kill it, we pretty much lose, so we kind of have to. Okay, Ouroborod's going to be tough to deal with. Whew. Yeah, that was nasty. I guess, so yeah, the question was maybe we should have held up Lightning Strike there for the Ouroborod. Yeah, that might have been wrong. That was probably the right play. It might be just game ending, not dealing with it. So it's probably a mistake on my part. And I think we're just dead now to this. Yeah, I guess like in the back of my head I was worrying about Craterhoof, but Craterhoof is usually only in like mono green versions or green red versions. Not that they couldn't run it in this one. They totally could, but I think you see it less often in Simic. And I think we're just completely dead here because the Ouroboros just gets out of hand. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think we can do 13 damage in a turn with no creatures. So some misplays on my part. But the deck is, it's nice, it's quick. We ended up going 4 and 3. Still able to, do about breaking even, I would say. Maybe a little more. And I think that overall, I think, again, like if you're in a meta where you have a lot of Izzet lessons to deal with, could be a nice choice. The games are fast, which is nice. It's good for trying to, I think, quickly get up on ladder, but it does have some limitations, so if you see a lot of lifelink, things like that, can kind of struggle a bit. But anyways, that was the deck. Thanks guys for watching. I appreciate you, and again, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and thanks again.